this is Sacrifice, and welcome to my 10.0.5 talent guide. If you're like me, you've been smiling from ear to ear since Tuesday because the buffs and talent changes we got feel amazing. But before we get into the video, I just want to remind you to like and subscribe to continue seeing this content throughout the entire expansion. I will continue to put out boss guides. I haven't made any recently because they made no sense since I knew big changes were coming, but I will continue once I have new recordings. Before we get into the talents, I want to highlight some of the buffs we got. Surge of Light now procs remote healing spells. Our Flash Heal and Renew now heal for 25% more. Power War Radiance now heals for 100% more. Sense of the Many increased damage dealt by 40%. Mind Blast now costs 1.6% of base mana. Harsh Discipline now triggers from Solace and Mind Blast in addition to Smite. Voice Summoner can now trigger from Solace, Smite, Mind Blast, and Penance. These were much needed buffs that so far make me feel like we are closer to all the other classes when it comes to healing through our higher keys. So with the talent tree I'm about to present, I just want to remind you all that what I'm choosing are talents that I believe will help me out in a pug environment. I'm not looking to just max out DPS because pug runs most of the time don't go as planned, so your rotation isn't always going to be the same during your Shadow Covenant window. People tend to make more mistakes in an unorganized pug group, so it makes me turn into more of a reactive healer on several occasions. Our main role at the end of the day is to heal and keep our party alive however we can while using our entire toolkit. So on the pre-side, I did make some changes. I removed my Disease Dispel, I removed Holy Nova, I removed Dominate Mind, and I removed Mind Games. I will talk about why I removed Mind Games when I talk about the discipline side, but I did remove Improve Purify, Holy Nova, and Dominate Mind because I only saw myself using these in a handful of dungeons. Instead of Dominate Mind, I decided to go for Void Tendrils because I needed to get into Vampiric Embrace. Now this talent right here has been useful in a couple of runs that I've done. As you can see here, I'm going to be doing my Radiance into a Shadow Covenant, and then I'm going into my DPS rotation.
Watch your step.
Everybody's healed up, but by the time that she's about to do her AoE damage, you can see the Shadow Covenant fell off, so I'm back to doing my Radiance, DPSing to get my buff Penance, and then I pop Vampiric Embrace, and I just continue to do my DPS rotation. So this is something you can use to help you out when you have Shadow Covenant on cooldown. It just gives you a little extra heals that can potentially save the group. So since I picked Vampiric Embrace, it also seemed worth it to get this talent right here because it reduces the cooldown by 45 seconds and it increases the healing done by 25%. Another talent that I decided to go for was Crystalline Reflection. This right here has done pretty good damage and it just gives you a little bit of extra heals. And since I had one more point to spend, I decided to go into Angelic Bulwark. I feel like this talent is really useful when you're playing in pugs because a lot of times you'll see that people are not interrupting, they're not stunning, and there's a lot of ass that can one-shot you. So this right here I feel like can save you. I mean, I've gotten one-shot several times from, a cast going off, and I feel like this right here will be a nice shield to, keep you alive and maybe save from having a wipe. As you can see from this clip, there's a lot of abilities going off, and right there I get hit once, get dropped to 30%, then I get hit a second time and drop right back down to 30% again. So on the discipline side, I got rid of Borrowed Time, Chain of Thought, Light's Wrath, and Twilight Equilibrium. And as you can see, I'm going with the Shadow build. I'm going with the longer Schism. I'm going with the longer Shadow Covenant. I'm taking Mindbender all the way down. I'm going with the Abyssal talent, and I'm also taking Expiation. This Shadow playstyle feels great. It no longer feels like it is taking forever to heal your party up through Atonement. You don't have to stop much to flash heal or feel like you need to save your power infusion if you fall behind. And not only are the heals great, but you're also able to sustain higher damage because you don't have to constantly spot heal after your Atonements fall off. If you follow the correct rotation, everyone in your party can be healed up to full within one Atonement window from Radiance. Another thing that is very noticeable from this build is that you are no longer struggling with managing your mana. I'm finding myself maintaining high HPS and just pumping heals through back-to-back pulls and only spending between 20 to 30%. Before, I felt like I needed to drink right after almost every mob pull, and I was definitely having to drink after every boss. Now I'm maybe drinking 3 to 4 times per entire dungeon. And that's all due to the mana return that you get from your Mindbender and the talent Void Summoner, which helps reduce the cooldown on your Mindbender by 2 seconds every time you cast Smite, Solace, Mind Blast, and Penance. So our mana issues are completely gone. Another talent that I opted to go for is Protector of the Frail. Again, this is a talent that is great when you're doing pug runs because I don't know about you, but I run into a lot of tanks that just aren't using their abilities at the right times, and sometimes they're just getting trucked because an ad has 4 stack of bolstering, or you have a few ads that got enraged from the enrage affix. And another way you can use this is to completely ignore boss mechanics if you're struggling to keep your group up. An example I could give you is on the Herja boss. People like to not hit their defensives during the storm. So what you can do is pop pain suppression on yourself, and that means that you'll need minimal healing on yourself because you are now taking 40% reduced damage. Your tank is also not taking any damage whatsoever. So that leaves you with healing your 3 DPS, which if you're throwing a flash heal here and there, you'll also be healed from your binding heals. So before we get into a rotation, keep in mind that Dark Indulgence now gives us a second charge of Mind Blast. Abyssal makes it so that our atonement heals for 20% more when activated by shadow spells. Expiation increases the damage of Mind Blast and Shadow Ward Death by 20%. And it also makes it so that those two abilities consume 6 seconds of Purge the Wicked and instantly dealing that damage. Inescapable Torment makes it so that those two abilities teleport your Mindbender behind your target and hitting up to 5 targets with shadow damage while increasing the duration of Mindbender by 1 second. Alright, so for the rotation, here you see that I start on the boss with Purge the Wicked. And I'm smiting, I'm getting my Penance proc up. Horn of Valor comes out, so I Radiance into Shadow Covenant, get Mindbender out, Schism, 1 Mind Blast, and then I refresh my Purge the Wicked. Throw my second Mind Blast, Penance, and then I just keep going with my, see the whole party fully healed. So here we're about to get another Horn of Valor. So again, I go into Radiance, into Shadow Covenant, Schism, Mindbender, Mind Blast, another Mind Blast, Dark Reprimand, and everybody is fully healed again. Except for me because I get hit like a newbie. But look at this, 1 Radiance healed us up all the way to full. It's so strong now. So here's another example. I'm putting out my Purge the Wickeds. And one thing you're going to notice is that I don't have the rotation down yet. I still need more practice, but you'll see me throwing my Radiance, Shadow Covenant, Schism, Mind Blast, second Mind Blast, Purge the Wicked fell off, so I put it back on, Dark Reprimand. And even though everyone is full health, I'm still following the rotation because you're still pumping out a lot of damage. So here I go back to Mind Blast, Shadow Ward Death, Purge the Wicked fell off, so I'll put it back on. I'll do my second Shadow Ward Death, Penance, and I don't know if you noticed, but I think in those 3 ads I peaked at 36k DPS, and I think that the highest that I've gone to is about 70k DPS, so not too bad. A couple things I still haven't mentioned is that I also took this talent. With all the buffs that we get from playing this shadow build, Shadow Ward Death will hit even harder and could potentially kill you. So having this 75% reduction makes it feel that you are taking 0 damage. This is also great because you're constantly refreshing your shields on the tank or putting out a shield on a DPS who's about to get hit by a mechanic. And you're also using Rapture about 10 times per dungeon, so you will see a lot of reflection there. I still think that priests are very squishy. During AoE damage, you can see your health bar dropping way faster than the rest of the group. So keeping Fade is really helpful. As far as stats go, I'm still at 23% crit, 20% haste, 23% mastery, and 14% versatility. I am trying to shoot for a little bit higher haste. I noticed that during tyrannical weeks, higher keys I need to be able to cast faster. So once and I still don't have my any tier gear either. I'm still, you know, I don't raid. Didn't get lucky on the vaults, so I'm still waiting for week 2, which is, you know, next week, and I'll be able to start rocking some tier pieces. So that was it for this guide. Below I will leave a link to my armory so that you can see what gear I'm wearing and what trinkets I'm using. And I will also leave a link to my Radiant REO profile so that you can see everything else. If you like this guide, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And now we'll leave you with some footage that I recorded after the patch updates. Thank you for watching.